Hello everyone. These are the 5 reasons why you may not be as confident. Firstly, you don't keep the promises that you make to yourself. If you say you're going to show up for yourself at a certain time, you just need to show up. And that's the thing, you need to show up even if you're not feeling like it, even if you make all the mistakes. Because that's the thing, if you can't keep the promises that you make to yourself, how do you expect to get from point A to point B? And how do you expect to make any progress in the first place? And that's why if you see other people not taking care of themselves and other people aren't achieving anything, those are the people that you don't want to be around. If you make a start and you stick to the promises that you make to yourself, you're going to encourage other people to start to do that, because sometimes you need to be the change that other people need to see. You need to realize that you need to be the change that you want to see, and you need to make other people change by encouraging other people to do good habits. And the next point I'm going to say is to take care of yourself. Because have you noticed that in my videos, I seem to have a glow? And I'm not trying to be egotistical and I'm not trying to big myself up all the time. But whenever the sun is out, I'm out. And that's the thing, because you need to start taking care of yourself. If you can't focus on your appearance of appearing the best that you can to other people, then you're less likely to be confident around other people. The second point that I'm going to say of why you're not really confident is because you don't take care of yourself. And you need to do everything you can to look good, to feel good. And people say that when you look good, you start to feel good. And when you start to feel good, it's because you look good. And the thing is, you need to focus on your diet, your exercise, your fitness, your health. That is what I'm going to say for my second point. You need to set a goal and do everything you can to aim towards it. And for example, if you start looking good, people start to respect you more. They start to want to be around you. The reason why you're not as confident around other people is because you don't feel comfortable being around other people, because you feel like people are going to be judging every single thing that you're doing. The next thing that I'm going to say, when I said earlier that when it comes to taking care of yourself, you're going to start to feel good, you're going to start to look good, and it really comes down to your diet and your exercise. The reason why I'm going to say this is because anyone can improve their life. It's not just me, but it's anyone that's really watching this and wanting to see a change. You need to start to change your bad habits and turn them into good habits. Because when it comes to solving your problems, you need to solve one problem at a time. Because if you start to try and do all of them, you're not going to have an effective strategy that you can use for all of them. Because you're so focused on all your problems, it can even stress you out as well. And when you're stressed out, you don't think clearly. So that's why when it comes to taking care of yourself, you need to solve one problem at a time. You need to realize that when it comes to taking care of your looks, that anyone can become good looking. No one's really ugly if you really think about it, because everyone has a different type and everyone has different preferences. So that's why when you're trying to look good, you have to look good for yourself and not just because you want to attract someone else. But the only thing is that when you start to care more about yourself, you naturally start to attract people, which is what you want. Because if you're starting to chase people and you put your time into someone else, you're never going to put time into yourself. And another thing I'm going to say, because if you start to look at what other people are doing all the time and you don't do anything for yourself, you're just going to stay where you are, and you don't want that to happen. When people say that you need to make a start, it's because yesterday was the best time to start things, and then the second best time was today, and the third best time is not too late, but it's usually in the future. But in the future, you have more responsibilities. So that's one thing you need to realize, that the older you get, you don't want to live in regret, but the older you get, you have more responsibilities. So my third and fourth point, I'm just going to say it now. It's either that you're distracted easily or you don't have anything that you're working towards. And I'm saying this because that's why people aren't really as confident, because if they don't have anything that they're working towards, it's going to be difficult for you to stay ambitious, and you need to have a life that's separate from someone else. But you have to realize as well that over time, you have to become disciplined. Because when you become disciplined, it's because you have something that you're working towards. And if you're easily distracted, for example, you see how I'm talking to you now, but if you're so focused on the background, if you're so focused on how my voice sounds rather than what I'm actually saying to you, then that means you're easily distracted. Everyone does have busy lives, but you need to dedicate time to yourself. Because have you noticed that you dedicate more time to someone else than you do yourself? And for example, when people say, tell me about yourself, Most people will freeze when it comes to that question, because when people say, tell me about yourself, you don't really have anything to say about yourself. You don't really have any achievements that really stand out to you. You can't really tell people more about your personality, how you get along with other people, and you don't tell people things that you like to do. If people ask you a question of tell me about yourself, you just need to prepare for that question. You need to have time to prepare your answers. And this is my last point, because if you're not as confident, it's because you're not prepared. And when you're speaking to other people, you just roll with it. You don't really have any questions you want to ask people. You don't have any compliments to give people. And when you give people compliments, you give compliments on their outfit and not really on like their physical appearance. My last point was just to be prepared, because if you don't prepare at all, you realize that you can't adapt to different social situations. And this can apply to just like anything. These are two different social situations that you need to adapt to. Because let's say, for example, you're on stage now and you're doing public speaking where you have to speak in front of hundreds of people. Or for example, you're trying to meet someone and you want to be on time. The most important thing is about being prepared. Because if you aren't prepared to like make mistakes, if you aren't prepared for every single scenario, then you're not going to be as confident. And that's really my last point about being confident, because you just need to prepare. That was all the points I wanted to make. But when I said prepare to fail, it's not that you assume that you're going to fail all the time. It's just making sure that you look at things from both sides. Like for example, you're winning all the time, or for example, you're losing all the time. You're starting to learn from your mistakes, so it's not really losing. So that's all I got to say, and I'll see you in another video, and thank you for watching.